there is a flurry of insider wars going on right now on social media where they're all trying to report the latest faster and in more complete detail than the others. Pete Thamel, ESPN, I'll start with him. According to his sources, the potential additions of Cal, Stanford, and SMU to the ACC are again under serious consideration. Going as far, Thamel is to say a small group of ACC presidents met this morning to discuss financial models that would come with the additions. Now, they canceled the ACC presidents meeting yesterday.
Yeah, it's like, wasn't there already supposed to be a meeting?
So this means this small group wanted only this small group to know what they were thinking. Or at least they wanted to have all their ducks in a row before they talked to everybody else.
Big question, who wasn't there?
Who wasn't, and by default, who was? I want to know where the lines are drawn. But here's the thing. Not long ago on this very show, on this very program, I implored the ACC to bully Stanford and Cal. Because I think Stanford and Cal don't have many other options. I don't think the Big Ten wants them. The Big Ten's already taken what they want from the Pac-12. I don't think the SEC wants them because the SEC is the SEC. I think it's ACC, and by the way, the Big 12 already pillaged the old Pac-12, and they left Stanford and Cal sitting there. So I don't think there's many options for Stanford and Cal. I think it's ACC and stay in the Power 5, or it's the Mountain West, or whatever the Mountain West Pac-12 merger ends up being, and that seems like a wasteland. So if I'm the ACC, what I asked them to do, what I asked the Atlantic Coast Conference to do not long ago was slide your list of demands over there and say, accept this, join the ACC, or good luck in the Pac or in the Mountain West 12, whatever you want to call it. Good luck with your merger with the American. Right? And that pretty much is saying you better accept what I'm offering you. Sounds like some of those concessions, some of those demands are getting close to being met. Continuing, Pete Thamel, the models are expected to include significant financial concessions from the schools that will be added. Going all the way. Here we go. The concessions expected from SMU include a willingness to take no broadcast media revenue for the first 7 years they are in the league. That means the media rights money.
What?
The media rights money that everybody's fighting over, that everybody wants. SMU is saying we don't want any for the next 7 years.
That's wild.
They have some kind of rich booster fund that they are going to supplement their athletic revenue with to not get blown out of the water while accepting no media money for 7 years. That's bullying working. That's the ACC like sending out a ridiculous the low ball offer, right? When you're buying a house, say the house, just use basic, very even numbers here. Say it's worth $100,000. You're like, I'll give you $12,000. Just all they can do is say no, right? The ridiculous low ball. They said, we want you to take no money for 7 years. SMU said, we can do that. Really? Stanford and Cal, again from Pete Thamel. Stanford and Cal would both receive the same share, which will both be reduced, but in different form than SMU's concessions. Let's assume Stanford and Cal said we'll each take a half share. Right? That's a generic, again, just keep the numbers normal. Stanford said, I'm not taking less than them. Cal said, I'm not taking less than them. But we'll both take a half share for, we'll say, the same 7 years. That means each of the next 7 years, if that's the case, each of the next 7 years, the ACC would have at least $72 million in slush fund coming from their media contract every year. That's every year. 2 full shares. So what could you do with that? Well, you could be very, very equal, right? You could just say, we're going to take this 70 mil, we're going to chop it up, everybody's going to get 5 and change. Right? Every team that is taking a share is going to get 5 and change. Or you could say something like this. We're going to give 20 to whoever wins football, 10 to whoever finishes in second, 5 to whoever finishes in third, 2.5 to whoever finishes in fourth, and then everybody's going to get 2 and change. And 5 to whoever wins men's and women's basketball. Like there's other ways to do it. You could divide the money up, so you could look at Florida State and say, if you want more money, go win. You could divide. I don't know if everyone follows the PGA Tour, but they have something called the PIP, a Player Impact Program, which they have a pool of money that gets divided up amongst the players to the 10 most essentially talked about. Who's mentioned the most in a positive light on social media. And they have algorithms and computers that go in and find all the mentions. Maybe you do something like that. Maybe you give it based on television numbers. How many of your games were rated a certain threshold, and for every game that you play in that's rated over a certain total number of viewers, boom, you get a couple extra million. You can divide it up however you want, but you can try to make your teams happy. And you can do that because when you're looking to expand, you are bullying a little bit, right? You're not just saying, hey, Stanford Cal, we want you in. We all voted for it. You're saying, hey, Stanford Cal, we want you in, but you're not going to be an equal. You're going to be a junior partner in this partnership, right? You're going to be our apprentice for a little bit, right? You have billions and billions of dollars in endowment. Dip into that for a couple years while we line our own pockets. And then you can look at Florida State, who, right, they want out because of the money, and you can say, we're working with you. We're trying to. Here's our olive branch. Here's some more money. Now, can you meet us halfway here and not try to uproot us from the inside, right? Not try to form a coup? Can we restart this relationship on better terms? Nice to meet you on the ACC. Maybe. Possibly. Also, Brian Murphy, WRAL investigative sports reporter, who's a friend of the show, been on a bunch. He's re-reporting, right, because this has been something that's been going on for a while, that Jack Swarbrick, the athletic director of Notre Dame, is very much so lobbying for Stanford and Cal to be granted ACC membership. That comes part from an athletic report, and Brian Murphy tweeted it out. Do you think maybe Notre Dame is in the meetings with the ACC power brokers, and they're going to Stanford and Cal and saying there's no way they're going to bring you in unless you're willing to take a X percentage share? Go offer the X percentage. I think I can get you in if you take a half share. I think I can get you in if you're cool about it, right? I can't. It's their club, but I think I can get you in. Feels like movement's happening. The more detailed the conversations get, the closer you are, right? When there's no chance, there's no chance. There's no details in that. We didn't get down to what share would you take, how many years would you take it for, what's the ramping up after the 7 years, like that you don't even get to if you're not close. If you're negotiating like a football trade and you're getting down to it, all right, we'll trade our Pro Bowl linebacker for your Pro Bowl tight end, and we'll throw in a first-round pick. You throw in your second from 2 years from now, and then you're negotiating like the conditional sixth that's going to make it work. You're pretty darn close. Like, you're in the details. It's very different than like, hey, we want your tight end. No, click, right? You didn't get to any details. These conversations are getting more and more and more specific based on reporting done. And I think that means the bullying might be a little bit working.